What's happening? Good to
What's
see you, bro.
good?
Yeah.
I normally see you on the therapy bed. Now we get to sit and talk some good shit.
Type shit. No, we really are always just in Dr. G's getting fixed up.
I mean,
Name of the game.
there's never a day that nothing hurts, right?
Yeah, I mean, dog, I'm 25 years into this, so, there's good days and other days I'm like, damn, I feel old right now.
Holy shit, 25 years.
2000 starts skating.
And when you turn pro?
I was, that was 2014 or 2015. Yeah.
Fuck, almost 10, 14 years in the game.
Yeah. It was weird, though, because, like, with skateboarding, you're technically not pro until you have a board with your name on it. But my life was super weird, and, like, I started getting, like, little checks off skateboarding when I was in, like, 10th grade. So to me, I'm like, I mean, it still is the standard. You turn pro when you get a board in your
Right.
name, but when you're making money, you kind of feel like you're on your way,
I mean,
Yeah.
not every child in high school is getting a check from the sports at all.
Yeah.
So like when you were getting checks on 10th grade, that was because you were doing already crazy stuff or competing or just freestyling, like, and someone was like, we need to put an eye on this kid.
Yeah, no, so like there's a lot of contests and I was kind of coming up and people were kind of hearing my name more and more. And then this is we used to have like the one biggest skate contest of the year in Canada. It's called AMS Getting Paid, like amateur skateboarders getting paid. And the check was $5,000 for first. And so the first year I went, I won. And then I went back the next year and then I won again. And then that's when I got signed to Monster. I think I was like in 10th or 11th grade. But then, yeah, then they offered me a contract way back then, and then that was when I started getting the money.
Oh, so you've been with Monster for a long
A
time.
long time, yeah.
That's what I like about Monster. Like a lot of sponsors, at least from my experience, most of them come when you're hot,
Mm-hmm.
but they also go pretty quick. The best thing I have seen about Monster is like, in the fighting world at least, guys retire
Mm-hmm.
and they don't get caught.
Yeah.
They still like on the company. They do some sort of like meet and greet or activations, but seems like the company bring you as a family member instead of just like a piece of meat that once it's over, bye bye.
Oh, yeah. I mean, by far, out of any company I've ever worked with over the years, like there's been no better company to work with. And it comes down to like the ethos. I feel like they built the company off of athletes, so they understand the value and like what we sacrifice because they've been there since day one, And then of course the people that work there, they know what's up. They're cool. So it's pretty rad. It
That's
really
sick.
is a part of a family for sure.
I was excited like when I was coming up in the rankings. I was like I can't wait till I have a fucking Monster logo on my shirts, because in the UFC it's like NBA. There's no sponsors on the clothing,
Mhm.
and it's a uniform. So really the only one that stick out is the Monster logo. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I was telling my manager, like, dude, when is this gonna happen?
Right.
And then eventually they gave me my first contract, and I was like, and so far it's so good. Like they got a bunch of cool stuff going on, and
Yeah.
they bring you to events or other sports events like motocross or PBR, and
Yeah.
it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. They do a good job in keeping the talent moving.
No, for sure. Like that to me is like something I hope more companies see value in long term. I feel like you said, a lot of companies, they just want to get the marketing while you're hot and then, okay, cool, on to the next thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus being there the whole ride,
And most companies do that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in places that I lost a fight and 3-4 sponsors just say like, well, I think this is it. I'm like,
Yeah.
2 fights ago, you were fucking telling me that I'm the best thing that happened to you, and now you're getting all sideways with me. But I guess it's the way the game goes.
Yeah. What is the classic saying? So it's just business, bro.
Exactly.
And you're like, all
That's
right,
what-
man.
That's what they say. Business.
Yeah, right. I
Okay.
know where we stand now.
I'm gonna hear a call from you a few months from now, and I'm gonna tell you the same shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They'll crawl back to your next big fight. You're doing well, whatever.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Going back to that tournament in Canada, like the
Mm.
amateurs getting paid, that's interesting because you don't see a lot of that in other countries. It's either you're like pro killing it,
Mm-hmm.
but like incentivizing the amateurs like that probably brought a lot of skaters out of there too.
Yeah, like, I mean, dude, it sucks because a lot of it comes down to like the economy and whatnot. But when I was coming up in that era, I was lucky because the Canadian dollar was doing better, and so all the skate brands had a lot more money, so they were throwing more events and competitions and stuff. And so I kind of was lucky and caught that era. But yeah, that one was big. You know, that was like the top of the totem pole for contests in Canada, and it was like you do well at that, then you're known within the country, so to speak.
How many like other big names came out of like that circuit in Canada?
Like that contest or just out of Canada in general?
I mean, kind of like both, but out of the contest.
I mean, contest wise, like Ryan DeCenzo, he's been an OG. He's been in the game. He's like 30. I just went to the Olympics with him, and he's 38 and still skating. Incredible. He's just got like Benjamin Button disease, dude. He
doesn't go.
Yeah, he
so keeps getting
sick.
Younger.
And then there's TJ Rogers as well. He's from Toronto, super good Canadian skater. I grew up skating some contests with him. Mickey Papa. And then, yeah, there's like a grip of other heads before my era that I looked up to as well that kind of came up, but it was different contest series and whatnot. But, I mean, I'm sure it's kind of like that in the fight world, you know? It's like whoever's throwing the biggest prize purse, well, people are going to come, you know?
They move there, yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, when I started fighting, there was no amateurs. There were not even MMA at all.
Yeah.
So, like, I just turned pro at 17, and I was like, I wish I had, like, 20 kickboxing matches and 20 amateur fights, but that didn't exist. So for me, it was like, take a pro fight against someone that was supposed to kill me, and then from then on, I was a pro.
Right.
And I was 17 years old.
Right.
Like, when I made it to UFC, I was 6-1, which is a little record.
Right.
But, I mean, that's a blessing of other sports that you got to be an amateur.
Yeah.
But you get to learn and have this. When you go to a competition, if it's an amateur fight or a pro fight, you feel the same.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It feels the same. Absolutely.
When you're under the lights, it's the same feeling. And when I made it to UFC, I was like, oh my God, what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't belong here. But then, thank God I figured it out, and I stick with it. But also that's why it took me a while to, like, figure it out too. Like, I wish we have, like there's countries that have, like, the amateur federation.
Yeah.
And they throw on these, like, events, and there's, like, 1,000 kids fighting.
Right.
I mean, 4-year-olds with headgear.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's not really that much, but at least you get to experience the adrenaline, all the dumps.
Prepares you for those lights and those moments a little bit, yeah.
Like, when you go and fight, I don't know, a wrestler, that guy had 1,000 matches. When you fight a kickboxer, the guy already have 100 fights. So
right.
They're, like, on another level, and you go like, oh, that's why they make it look that easy.
Right.
When you start pro, it's like, oh, so we're fighting now, right? Okay, let me figure this shit out. But I wish we had more amateurs. That's what probably you made it far, because you had that amateur, but you're still competing with hell of a good skaters, because it's the same, maybe a little younger.
Yeah.
Like, maybe all you guys were younger, but you still guys competing against each other.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, for me coming up skating, it was like there was 3 contests that matter every year, and it was the AM's Getting Paid, and then there was Tampa AM in Tampa, Florida, and then the Phoenix AM. But, like, the AM's Getting Paid was the biggest Canadian event, so all the best in Canada go out. So I'll go skate that every year, and I'll get to see who's at the top of the totem pole, right? And then when I go to Tampa and Phoenix, that was, at the time, there was no higher level of amateur contest in the world. Like, people would fly from around the world. So I got to go to those and basically see, okay, this is what the dudes who are up next to turn pro are doing. And then I'd go back to Canada after the event, and then, cool, I know what's going on. All right, I'm back to work, you know what I mean? So it was super important for me to have that growing up, especially through, like, my teenage years, because it gets you ready for those moments. Like, I can relate to you. You kind of said it when you're like, damn, I'm in the UFC now, like, holy shit. And, like, not a lot can really prepare you for that, or maybe you're good enough, but your mind's still thinking, like, imposter syndrome.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, I am good enough to like be here.
Mm-hmm.
But like having those 3 tournaments will get you ready for like X Games, the Olympics, because
Yeah.
then the lights are really hot.
Yeah.
Like from those 3 tournaments that shape you pretty well, when you went, what is skateboarding went from that?
Like for me as a skater, what did it do for me?
No, like what was the next step after that?
Right. Well, the goal really is like, well, it's different because when you're from a smaller country, and I know you relate to this, it's like you could be the best fighter in Ecuador or the best skater in Canada or the best wherever, you know what I'm saying? But back then there's no social media, so you're like, where can I get an opportunity that's gonna get eyes on me to maybe open a sponsor or whatever in the future? Kind of geographically screwed, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so the main focus was every year I wanted to show up at those events and do my best in hopes someone who's important sees and gives an opportunity or gives me a shot, so to speak. Because that was really the only way. Now it's a bit different because you could be super good and be posting clips on Instagram, and all of a sudden the company you always wanted to ride for, someone reaches out or whatever. You know, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. It's versus back in my era was like you skate right at a demo or a contest, or you mail in a VHS tape to the company you're hoping to sponsor you, and you don't hear back. You know what I mean?
I mean, social media changed the game, because that's true. Before, like it's either the companies in the tournament recruiting, or you have to like send like a CD, be like, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
And hopefully you like what I'm doing.
What was it? I know you grew up, I mean, we've talked about it, all the street fights and whatnot back home growing up and shit. But, like, what was that path for you?
I mean, before I put my foot on a gym, I was getting every weekend on a street fight for fun. Like, we were like, me and my group of friends, that they still my friends, were like, we would go out thinking tonight is a good night to fight. And we were just like, bump into somebody, or we were kids, or we were like start grabbing, like when the drink was over, we were like literally just throw ice to the air and
like see who gets pissed. Hopefully
someone said, what the fuck you? Boom. But like it was, I mean, it was just nonstop trouble. I mean, and luckily nothing bad never happened, because it was either we could get hurt or we could hurt somebody.
Yeah.
And this happened so often that one day my neighbor drove by my house and was like, yo, hop in the car. I was like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm going to go skate. Because at the time, all my friends would skate. And he was like, dude, hop in the car. You don't even take skating seriously. You go and smoke cigs and wait till a fight start, or you're not even trying to skate. You're just like having fun with your friends. My friends would skate really good. And I was just like watching them. Like back then, I wish I had a camera, because I would have loved to be like the camera guy, because I was just chilling,
just kicking it with the homies.
Yeah, like they were like scale and throwing earths and all this shit, and I was just like, I would have skated a little bit. I like it, but I never like tried to get good at it. I was like, I love to watch. And he was like, just jump in the car, and he took me to a jiu-jitsu gym, and he was like, and I'm like, what we doing? He's like, well, you like to fight, you will learn here, and hopefully you stop being an idiot in the streets. And I was like, okay. So he introduced me to the Brazilian.
Damn, real ass homie right there.
I still my friend today. Him and his brother were really
What's his name?
Marcos.
Shout out to Marcos.
Yeah, we call him El Gordo. He cooks really good. He's a cook now.
Okay.
And his brother owned a small hostel in a place called Ayampe, which is the best place on earth. Like when I'm back home and I'm done working and I don't want to like, be involved in big crowds or stuff, I drive there and I stay there for a few days. There's no signal.
That's fire.
It's type Ayampe guest house. It's like half jungle, half sand. It's the best place. Yeah. Like I go there and I just disconnect from the world.
That's so important. Like you got to find that time amongst the madness.
I've been telling my wife I want to buy a little piece of land in the mountains and just build a sick little house, and just go there when I retire.
Yeah.
My wife is she's not biting on it yet, but
That's commitment.
this is their house. He turned it into a hostel. It's the one with the pool. It's like beachfront.
Damn.
And see like all the mountains in the back?
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of property for sale up there.
Oh, you can just go be next door neighbors with them.
I was telling him like ask the guy right next to you if he want to sell, but he don't want to sell.
Right.
They teach like yoga, surfing. The rooms are sick, and that's just like it's his family house. He just turned it into a business, and he does a pretty good job.
That's awesome. It looks amazing.
And see those two rocks right in front of his house?
Yeah.
It looks like when the sunset is coming down. I love going there.
This is in Ecuador?
Yeah.
Sick.
It's called Ayampe. And his brother was like, just come train, dude. Like, just, I know you could do something here. And I was like, fuck off.
He's on some customado type energy.
yeah. And I remember that I get to the gym, and I like this Brazilian guy that he was my first coach, Soluso. I just came to him, he's like, yo, I'm here because I'm training for the UFC. And he like spit his words like, he's like, who the fuck are you, you fucking little rat? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm a fighter. And he's like, what kind of fighting? And he was kind of like, who are you? And I'm like, I already paid the membership. It was like $50 a month. And I was like, I'm here. And since that day, I never stopped training.
Damn.
Never. I don't miss one day.
Yeah, I mean, you had all that energy, and that shit was going into fighting fools at the bar, and then now you have someone giving you a bit of direction where it's like, but you can put that energy.
I mean, if that guy would never, like, he literally picked me up and just, he trained, like, he was training on and off, but he was doing more for, like, health. Like, he was training, losing weight, just whatever. He was like, I'm recruiting you, and you will never leave this place. And I clicked the first day. I bought a gi, my little Weibo, and I used to stop training nonstop.
That's how it is though. When you find your thing, it's not even a choice. Like it's just like, oh, it's over. This is it now. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, I remember trying different sports and whatnot, and I never cared. And then the day I stepped on a skateboard, and I was young as hell. I was I think like six or 7 years old, but it was over. It was like nothing mattered anymore. It was like just this thing. And then this where all the energy went, you know, all the good, the bad, whatever. Like I have a shitty day, I go step on my skateboard, my day's getting a little bit better. I have a really good day, well, that day just got a little bit better. You know what I mean? So it's funny. That's one thing I love about talking to people from different disciplines of sport and shit is
because someone have a motive or reason behind everything.
Yeah, but we all share that same like conviction to our craft, right?
Right. Yeah. How was the skate scene like back then? There was a lot of parks. There was non-parks. Cops were in crazy on the skaters. Like how was over there?
Yeah, no, I mean this is like right when the you remember the first Tony Hawk video came when it came out? So that made
I still play it today.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm really fucking good.
You get the max combo score going.
I like what they say. Like when I'm playing, I have a surfing video game. Or like the really OG one that is like not even fun to play. Is that
the Kelly Slater?
No, it's the one before. It's just like a random dude with a shitty board surfing,
right.
And it's a shitty game. And I played, but that's how I find as I like, because those are the two sports I grew up doing.
Yeah.
And I always close my eyes and I picture myself killing it in both, but I never get that good at both. But they're my favorite sports.
Yeah.
That's what like. Back
That's
home,
so
all my friends skate, all my friends surf, and they're all really good.
Yeah.
I like the sport too much. But I play a lot of Tony Hawk.
That's funny, man. That's rad.
I love it.
Yeah, that literally was my childhood, though. You know, I think, like, when I found skateboarding, there was just some kids rolling around in the neighborhood, and it's the first time I ever saw skateboarding, and I was like, damn, that looks kind of cool. And, like, skateboarding at the time was perceived to be kind of cool, you know, because of the Tony Hawk video game. And then as soon as I stepped on my board, I mean, the rest was history. The only thing that was funny, though, is, like, we had one of the worst skate parks. It's still the worst skate park I've ever skated, personally. Growing up, And that was where I spent the first 6 years skating. That and then in my backyard, which was a lot of alone time, honestly. That and maybe like one of the neighborhood kids who kind of rolled around. But what was trippy for me was at the same time, the federation in town, the skate federation, they spent like 5-6 years trying to convince the city to get us money to build a new skate park. And they kept saying no. And then the local skate shop, they had the Birdhouse team do a demo at our skate park. And the park is so shitty, they built ramps for Tony in hopes like maybe Tony will do like a hand plant or something. You know what I mean? Because the park is so bad. They're like, fuck, what are they going to do here? And after the demo was done, the news interviewed Tony. And they're like, what do you think of the skate park? And Tony was like, this is the worst skate park I've ever skated in my whole life.
That was good, he said that.
Best thing ever. Shout out Tony Hawk every time, because if he didn't say that, then all the leaders in the city wouldn't have been bummed and be like, okay, we got to delegate money. Tony Hawk doesn't like cam loops, you know?
We need to make it better.
And then immediately we got all the funding. And then 2 years later, we had, still to this day, one of the best parks in British Columbia built.
Fully changed it.
Like went from like the worst park to one of the best training like grounds you could ever ask for.
I mean, and the crazy part is like the government has the money. It's
they
just
always
like,
do.
It's like what, and how much really is a bunch of concrete and rails? Can't be too much.
But they don't like what's associated with the culture, so it takes them some time, you know. And in Canada, most people only really care about hockey. You know how it is.
I mean, soccer for us.
Yeah, exactly. Same
there's
thing.
Like today, there's not like a UFC gym. There's not like, even for the skaters, like there's like few like public ones, and dude, there's holes everywhere.
Yeah,
and it's like we used to go to those, but they also make them super gnarly.
Yeah,
they weren't even like kind of like beginners styles.
Excuse me.
And then they built like a private one that it was really sick, and we used to go every day.
Right.
But you need to pay. You need to. You know, if you don't have a helmet, they charge you more.
Yeah, a lot of money, yeah.
So it was like a rich kid
Which is the craziest thing. Skateboarding is like the least rich kid sport, you know? Yeah. But I could imagine, because in Ecuador, like, to have the money to build a skate park, like, you need a lot of money. And I imagine it's not.
I used to go with my friends. Yeah. They had a membership. I sneak in and we were skating.
Damn, that's crazy. You could have been like a dude in the skate industry. We'd call, be like, hey Chito, like, you want to come film at this spot? But no, you got brought to the gym.
I mean, and we would really go every day to skate. Like, I would like get off school, change my t-shirt, grab my skateboard, ride to my friend's house, was like 5 minutes away. Yeah. Jump on his car, we go to the skate park, and we would spend from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. come back. I just never decide to like, I want to get good at it because it is scary, you know, like a front side turn when you're looking down. Yeah, it's scary. Dropping the big ramp is scary. So I was always like, I don't.
It didn't capture you that way, and that's fine.
But that's
how
why.
it is sometimes.
But that's why I'm fighting. I told myself I already pushed down in something that I really like, because I did push down. I was like, really? Yeah, I really was like, this is kind of scary. I won't do this. Yeah. So when I started fighting, I was like, I can be a pussy twice. So that's why like fighting is a little scarier and gets super scary when you have a real fight. And I look back and I was like, fuck, I should have just become good at that. But then
No, you went down the right path, dog.
So when I started fighting, I was like, not twice in a row, because I know that I can lie to myself. The main reason I never get good was because it was scary. Right. I don't want to land on concrete. So I was like, you know what? I want to make people land on concrete. And that's how things happen.
That's funny, man. It's such a funny thing to compare, you know. It's like, I've always liked skateboarding because it's really always you against yourself, especially when you're trying to do something you know you can do, but it's super high risk and scary at the same time. So it's that mind game, right? But at the end of the day, it's all within your control, unless maybe it's windy out. Right. Versus for you with fighting, bro, like, it's a whole different thing, man. Like,
it's fucking
It's different kind of fear. I feel like you can't even compare them, you know?
I mean,
very different.
But in a way, if you compare little things, like you fall in a rail,
Yeah.
your balls are gone. You fell in the concrete, you get a concussion. So
Yeah, I can relate, unfortunately.
yeah, but the fighting thing, yes, is an extreme, gnarly, ultimate sport because it's like a closest thing to war without guns. Because someone's gonna get hurt regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you get, but I'm sure the first time you jump in the rail, you're gonna eat shit properly.
Yeah, I mean, you can build your way up to it, you know? I find some of the worst slams I've ever taken is when, like, that. The one thing that skateboarding is always teaches you respect. Because, sometimes you with certain tricks, it can be so innate, natural, and easy that your focus kind of wavers a little bit. And you're like, I got it, and you're lazy mentally. And then you take the worst slam you've ever had on something you can do every try. Just because you took that moment of focus off. You got just a little bit, though, not a lot, right? And so it is like funny in that regard because I've gotten so smoked on some basic stuff, and then I've gotten away with murder trying things that were
because you were super locked in.
You're in that flow state,
I was like 3 months ago. I have a 2-foot ramp. I shouldn't be getting hurt there, and I was like, my wife was. I was having her film me because I want to like get my little clip skating, and I was talking to her because I was like, "It's a little ramp."
Yeah.
I put the tracks on the rail, and I was distracted talking to her, and I kind of like fall, and I roll my feet going down.
Oh, you rolled your ankle?
My ankle.
No.
I was like, I couldn't get up. She's like, oh my fucking God, you just break your feet. You have a fight few months. I'm like, I'm going to jump in the ice, but don't give me shit right now. But it was so bad that I really thought I broke something.
Yeah.
But thank God the next day it was okay. It was just in the moment, but I was like, I told her, no more talking when I'm acting like a skater. No more talking.
Yeah, you go into Dr. G's the next day. He's making fun of you for stepping on a skateboard.
Oh, he did.
God damn.
He was talking mad shit. So what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, dog, just don't tell my coach.
That shit is funny.
If he asks, I was kicking hard. But I roll it pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny little ramp. It's like from wall to wall, but it's like 2 feet.
Yeah, I remember you showing me a video. I think maybe it was your daughter was rolling around on it a little bit.
She's taking classes at school now. Mm-hmm. Every Tuesday.
Sick.
I mean, if she gets good at skating, it will make my life happier.
I mean, there's an amazing community for the girls these days in skateboarding. It's insane how good they've gotten, and then just how big the scene is.
The little kids, it's crazy.
Yeah.
When I went to when I see you in X Games competing, what's the name of the little kid that does the ramp? Japanese kid?
Little Japanese, yeah, Jin Woo. Mm-hmm.
Bro, he's like 4-year-old competing with men.
Yeah.
And he I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think he's like 12 or 13.
No, he's older than what I said.
But no, he's still competing against like Ryan, who's 38, or me, who's 31. He's so good. It's
like when I saw him there, I was like, I was looking for all the little babies. I'm like, where your opponents are? Mm-hmm. And then someone told me like, oh no, he's in the men's class. I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. Like he was competing against Tom. He was competing against the guy sponsored by Asoya. Because those are the ones that I remember. They were doing crazy shit.
Right.
I'm like, how this works? Like,
wait, was it the street event or was it the bowl you're talking about?
He was on the big ramp, on the tunnel ramp.
Oh, okay. No, we're not talking Jinwoo. We're talking Guy Curry. He spins like 900s and whatnot. Yeah, I know.
I follow that kid in IG, and I'm like, I was like, when I met him, I started like shadow boxing with him, and he like saw me, and he was like put his face up, and I'm like, oh yeah, you got spirit, kid. I like it. And then someone told me like, wait till he goes, because they were like warming up.
Right.
And I was like, how in the fuck can you drop this? I will never drop that fucking ramp.
No?
I mean,
you could if you spent the time and learn how to drop in properly. You could be able to do it.
Because I was on top of the ramp. It was the same ramp.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, Guy Curry's bro is
No, but that's
so
not the
good.
kid I'm talking about.
No?
No, let me find him.
I wonder which one it is. Because there's a bunch of little vert babies that
No,
are
but
so good.
this was like actually like when I said 4-year-old, he was probably 5.
Oh, okay. Damn.
I'm gonna find him. It won't take me too long. When I saw him, I was like, "This is not real." He's a little baby, like legitimately like a little baby, or the type who's the youngest in X Games. Maybe you find him first.
I'm trying to think, man.
He got a.
Mia Kretzer. That's a girl, that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Emma Kawakami.
See?
This kid. You know him?
EMMA?
Oh, yeah, I
EMA.
saw this clip. Him spinning 900s.
Yeah.
Bro.
That's the one. He was doing some. I was like, are these fucking real?
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. I don't know what.
That's a kid. Yeah, that's a kid.
World's first back-to-back 900s.
He did 3 in a row.
You know, bro, he's a baby.
Yeah.
He's not even 12.
That's, dude, I don't know what the Japanese federation's doing, but they're producing crazy talent in like all sports. It's incredible to see.
I was like, when I saw him skate,
900s.
when I saw him skate live, I was like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
How you entry to X Games? Like, what you need to win in order to get there?
I mean, it's kind of up to the dudes who, handpick who run it. It's like,
Oh, it's like invitational only,
yeah,
kind of?
yeah, it's invitational. For me, I'd won Phoenix Am, and then I got this invitation to skate in Street League, and
That's
then
the one I saw.
I don't know if you've been to a Street League or not. You've been to X Games though. We kicked
X
to the
Games,
X
that's the
Games.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Street League is SLL?
Yeah, SLS. Yeah, separate. But after I got into SLS, then I got the X Game invite because it was like kind of like, okay, he's at the tier level or whatever. I don't know who was over there, but they just decided to invite me, and so I started skating them.
Because there were 3 like versions. It was the big ramp, it was the street that you compete, and they kind of like mix a little bit of a street with balls.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I skate the street only
In
stuff.
terms of like level, like how much different is to go and compete in that one too?
I literally an entirely different.
It's a different sport.
It's complete. Oh, I mean, it's still skateboarding, but it's just so separate from being a street skater. Like to be able to skate the vert ramp and then go and try and compete. I don't even think I've saw anyone actually like compete in the vert and then skate in the street. It hasn't been done because it's just so different.
I mean, when I say it is a different sport, I know you're on a skateboard, but it is a different sport.
Yeah.
Because the bird is like people fly, like they do all this crazy shit. Them on the street, it's like the regular stuff that people grew up doing on, of course, on another level.
Yeah.
And then what's the name of the pool mixed with the street?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the Olympic realm they call it park, but it's just it's like a bowl, and there's ledges and rails inside the bowl, right? Like, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
because they were like kind of like jumping out of the pool on top of another rail.
Yeah.
Them jumping back, and I was like, fuck, people's gonna die today. It was fucking gnarly.
Yeah, that course was pretty crazy, huh? It's trippy, you know. You go watch like someone like Tom Shar skate that, and you're just like, how on earth, you know what I mean? But it's so different in terms of skills. Like, I know dudes who compete in X Games, and they've never even dropped in on a vert ramp. Like, oh, it's too gnarly, they won't do it. You know what I mean? But if it's a handrail or ledge, they're down. Right?
Which is crazy because both are super scary. Both you can eat shit badly.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about like they can like diversify like that, because there's people that probably are not very good in this one.
Yeah.
And they can get very good in the street, and then there's the birds that like to fly on the ramp. So it's like, I mean, for me, it was super fun to watch
Yeah.
the whole thing.
No, it's cool you came out and can appreciate what we do, you know? It's been pretty rad in that that's the one cool thing I like about social media is I feel like it's brought all of the different sports together under kind of one house, and we all get to kind of talk. It's pretty rad.
It was sick. It was sick to watch live. The one that I have never been is SLS. I want to go to one of those.
Yeah.
Those ones are the same, like only invite, or you need to qualify?
Yeah, I mean, there is qualifiers, but they also kind of pick and choose who they want to invite and whatnot.
So they bring like the main guys.
Yeah.
That's cool. And like on today's skating, those are the only 3 big events with the Olympics. Because for the Olympics, you need some sort of points.
Yeah, Olympics is like straight out the mud, you know, like you qualify for your country, right? Like a guy from Ecuador who has no sponsors, in theory, can, you know, make it all the way to the Olympics as a skateboarder through their federation versus X Games. And I mean, it's still the top tier. It's just done differently. You know what I mean?
In what type of a step you gotta do through the federation to qualify to Olympics?
Well, with that, it starts as like you want to be. I think it's they have 6 slots for your country for national team. So you got to be top 6 in your country, and then if you want to go for your country to the Olympics, you got to be top 3 not only for your team, but then you have to be in the top 20 in the world for all skaters.
So there will be countries that won't even make that.
Yeah. There's some quota, you know, like I know Australia has a guaranteed slot, and same with South Africa. And that's one cool thing about the Olympics in that sense, where it's like, doesn't matter where you're from per se, you know, you still have a shot.
You got a chance.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that if it starts a line and you kill it that day,
Yep.
I mean, you can like change your life right there.
Yeah.
The Olympics that you compete were the first ones that they were skating in.
Mm.
How was that whole experience?
I mean, dog, the first Olympics for me was in Japan in 2020, but that was mid-COVID. So it didn't even feel like a real event. It felt like a mock contest or something, because we competed and there was no fans or anything. And then the sessions too were funny because of COVID, there was all these limitations. So on the park, even though it was a huge skate park, you're only allowed 3 skaters on this park at a time. And so picture like in the middle of summer in Japan, so it's like whatever 102 degrees out and humid, or for the Canadians, you know, like Celsius, like 37 degrees or 40 or something like that.
So it took forever.
But yeah, it's 3 you on course, and they're playing like elevator Mozart music on the speakers because they don't have a DJ, and then there's no fans, so there's no energy. The best way I could imagine, you had to do your UFC fight, like the biggest one that you've ever had, but there's no fans. But
I did one of
and
those.
you have so you can relate, but you have like 100 million people watching. You're like, how do you? Because usually, like for me, I can pull a lot of energy from the crowd. It really helps, you know. But yeah, it was interesting. I didn't have a good time with that one.
I fought in Florida. Where was it?
Tampa?
No, it wasn't Tampa. If you say a name, I will say yes or no.
Not Miami.
Not Miami. It was like kind of boring.
Not Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Was it Jacksonville?
Huge arena. Crazy huge arena. Fully empty. They normally in the UFC they brought you to the locker room like 2 hours before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, you are the second fight on the main card.
Yeah.
They will bring you to your locker room a fight before.
Right.
So there was no time for nothing. It was rub your hands and go. And once you're done, you're out of here.
Mm.
In that matter, it was really cool because there was not too much time to get nervous. You're chilling. When you were on the bus, you were fighting within 30 minutes.
Oh, so you liked it? You didn't have, your mind couldn't get into there at all. You
loved
just got straight
this
to
is
it.
Sick.
Damn.
Just wake me up and tell me warm up.
Yeah.
Because regularly, you go to the arena 2 hours before. So now you're fucking seeing people coming losing and crying, seeing people coming winning and screaming, people in the locker room pumping themselves out. All the coaches, come fucking, let's go. All that energy
Right.
fits you. and you're like, oh fuck, okay, it's my time now. Okay, let's warm up.
Right.
But on COVID time, it was like you get dressed, you put your fighting shorts and everything on the hotel, get in the bus, wrap your hands, and then you're the next fight.
Damn.
I love that mechanism of like, once you're in the arena, you're fighting right away. That was great. I love that.
I've had this conversation with so many different athletes in different sports because of we all talk about our COVID experience. You were the only one I know that was like, I loved it.
It was sick. Because normally, you go 2 hours before, you're in the arena, you're sitting you're like on your locker room, like watching all your friends. Everybody's like, you got this. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, sure I do. Fuck you. How you feeling? Good, I guess.
That's crazy.
But COVID time was like, boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
How many years skating been on the Olympics? Or how many like Olympics ago?
Well, there's only been 2. So there was Tokyo in 2020 and then Paris last summer.
Okay. At least we have UFC for a long time.
Yeah.
So Tokyo during COVID, that definitely sucked.
Yeah, I think most skaters, they weren't about it for sure. But I mean, you can't blame them. I'm not trying to throw shade. It's just that's how it was.
At least they did it.
Yeah.
Right? People had a chance to perform
for
and
sure.
do something. Because without that, a sponsor wouldn't be like, you're not competing, fuck off.
Oh, yeah. No, it would have been bad for everybody. And I felt bad because, when we were in the village, it was, especially during that time, it was like, you were there, right? Let's say you were there in theory. It'd be like, naturally you want to like, oh, what up? How you doing, dog? Like, say hello, Couldn't happen because, wait, what if I go say hello to them or meet them
and then COVID.
And I get COVID, but I feel fine, but I test positive the next day.
Fight's over.
And then your whole life dream, right? Like all these people, I'm different because I grew up skating. I never thought I'd be in the Olympics, but every other athlete there, since they're a little kid, that was their dream. And so it was like, I think a lot of people, they made it there and it was special, but they didn't get to have that like true experience, the magic of what it's like to go.
What really sucks is the ones that made it there and didn't make it to the second one.
No, 100%.
Now you gotta wait another 4 years.
Yeah.
To like experience the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
What about Paris? How was that one?
Oh, it was amazing. Like it was everything I hoped it would be because after the way Tokyo went for me and like how just the whole event was, I was like, dog, that wasn't it. I gotta go back. Like there's no way around it, And no, it's trippy. I mean, probably I'd assume for you, like you really feel your country behind you when you go fight, right?
Right.
But as a skater, and like our culture, it's like, oh yeah, he didn't kill it today. Like that's skateboarding. Some days we have off days, you know what I mean? But you're skating for you, right? When it comes to the Olympics, it's different because like your country's behind you, and
now
that's
the
something.
country make sure you feel that they're there.
Yeah, and it's a very powerful thing that I'd never experienced, and that in itself was a really cool thing to feel. And
that's sick.
Yeah, it was rad.
It's like a big hockey game. Now they are chipping away with you.
Yeah.
And probably in regular contests, they're like, you're competing for yourself, like you say.
Well, it's country pride. You got our flag on our back, So everyone wants to kind of give a little bit of energy to be a part of it,
Yeah, Olympics is like for like the sports, like for they call it amateur sports. That's not amateur. When they have like a boxing match in the Olympics, that's a pro fight.
Right.
But going to the Olympics is something. See, we don't have that.
Yeah.
There's no fight. I mean, I don't think they can make fighting in the Olympics. That must be.
It would be sick if they did. Do you think it's? I mean, it is judgeable. What do you think? Do you think it would fit in there or no?
I mean, people. It's crazy how many brands are scared of or fighting, and I experienced that when I started like becoming a name and Monster sponsor me and these brands.
Right.
Like other companies, they think you're like a thug or like I don't know, like a bad person, like.
Right.
Like a big executive or the big brands that I would love to be sponsored, they go, I don't know, you don't fit. But then I'm like, but you just have a collab with this rapper saying, kill, selling, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what makes him?
That's funny as hell to hear, yeah.
How I can be harder than that guy? I got 3 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
But like, that's probably Why? Because in boxing,
Right.
yes, there's KOs in the Olympics. There's people getting cut, but MMA gets really ugly sometimes.
Yeah.
And what I think the biggest issue with that is like in the amateurs, boxers, I have heard because my coach was a pro boxer. There's days you can have 3-4 matches,
Yeah.
but in MMA, 3-4 fights, bro, you're gonna become chalky with cuts and your legs getting jammed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I mean, that's why they don't have kickboxing in the Olympics,
Right.
because fucking kicking each other for 3-4 fights is gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
And the amateur system now with the federation, because when I fought in Dubai, I met like the president and he explained me and he was like, talk to your friends in Ecuador and politicians and see if we can get the federations and you can be in charge of it in a way to help motivating the kids.
Right.
The problem with that is like you make now this huge event with 1,000 kids fighting.
Yeah.
It's like,
How do you sell it? How does
how
that
you
work?
sell that.
Yeah.
Because in Russia they have sambo, so they have these sambo world champions and they all transition to the UFC and they have 100 sambo fights,
Right.
which is like the experience, the level that they have touched is like, if MMA would have that would be great, but how you put a cage in the Olympics, that's gonna look a little too crazy,
for
right?
sure. Especially too, it's like one country, really beat the hell out of another, and like let's say this man is bleeding all over the cage, like people are gonna have a lot to say online about it. I could see the politics. I didn't even think about that, honestly. I don't even think about it because I mean, to me, the UFC is just they've built such a solid brand,
Huge platform.
It's like they don't need it.
Yeah, but for fighters, it's like, so now a UFC fighter go to the Olympics and he's gonna fight like an amateur.
Yeah.
With 15 amateur fights. How you put like Irela Adesanya against this 12-0
It wouldn't even
19-year-old?
It wouldn't even happen, It's like if you had to choose which brand to go with, well, which one's going to pay you more? You're probably going to stick with the brand that built the whole sport.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was in high school, I heard grumblings about the UFC, right? And then, I mean, in all honesty, I was just focused on skateboarding. And then it wasn't until GSP had his reign, and then everybody knew about it. And we were playing the video game, and we're watching the fights,
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the heroes, right? But like in terms of like Olympics, like someone that have won SLS or X Game,
Yeah.
you go and compete Olympics with this new 18-year-old. I mean, even if the 18-year-old won, huge, great upset, amazing.
It's not good. It's
But
not good
in-
for the business, probably.
But in MMA, because this individual doing tricks,
Yeah.
in MMA, how you bring like, let's see, someone that is UFC champion goes and fights someone with 3 or 4 fights. I mean, I don't.
I would pay to see it.
I mean, it would be crazy to see that. But like, how you put that fight together? Or you
Yeah.
bring like
No,
Francis Ngannou fighting someone that is like 10-0 amateur. I mean, fuck.
that actually might be the play because it would get the craziest viewership you've ever seen.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's. I mean, I don't. That's why probably it's gonna be hard to sell it to the Olympics.
I don't think you guys need it anyways. I think you guys got a good structure going.
It's. I mean, Dana fucking did it crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The UFC is like, they have everything and they can build you. You want 3-4 fights, they put you on billboards. The UFC is like a machine on
Yeah.
making money and making it right. Like, I love it. I'm happy there, but yeah, it's gonna be hard to put a 4-0 amateur against a fucking Islam Makhachev. It's gonna be like, well,
If it ever happens, you better give me a fucking text because I will be tuning in.
that'd be sick. I think. Yeah, I don't think it can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. It's so wild to see what it's been built to. I mean, anytime I listen to Dana White and interviews and whatnot, I'm like, what a fucking cool person to like care and build, You know, that's our version of Dana White and skateboarding was Rob Deerdick.
He's the one that built everything.
He built Street League and built it into like the NBA of skateboarding and got it on ESPN and made it like a celebrated platform, you know? And it's cool. They were actually friends. I remember I skated one Street League and Dana was there watching.
Dana's part of that now.
Yeah.
He part owned it. I don't know, was it? But
Smart man.
bro, that motherfucker turns anything into gold.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I mean, they were doing a Street X event in the Apex.
Yeah, no, I skated it. Yeah.
Is it one that you skate?
Yeah, I remember talking to you about it. I was like, dog, I'm going to skate where you're fucking wailing on fools.
How many times I fought that? Like 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Apex is like, I love the little venue.
It was sick because it felt like a little gladiator den or some shit. I was like, damn, there's a lot of history and bloodshed here. This is cool.
When I do commentary and they're fighting, bro, a lot of fans are like, get rid of the Apex. I'm like, no, keep the Apex.
Yeah.
It's sick, like 300 people is screaming. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, maybe the fans are just upset because it probably costs a lot to get those tickets or something.
Yeah, but they have like a full bar, full open food. So it's like, yeah, you pay probably a little more, but it's like a sick little experience.
Yeah.
Like last time I fought there, my dad was fucking drunk out of his mind just screaming. And because it's so little, I could hear every fucking word my dad was saying.
That's crazy.
There was a point that I was like, yo, calm down because you're making me like, it's like, come on, there you go. I was like, give me a break, but he was drunk.
Yeah. That's trippy. I'm surprised. Like, I always wondered that watching fights and you know, the coaches are yelling at him, you know, do whatever. And for me, when I skate, like I zone out so much. I don't even know what's said on the mic. I don't hear the song I skate to. I don't hear nothing. So I was like, I was like, wonder in fighting you'd be like that, but I guess you still need to hear.
I hear every word my coach says.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's not, even when the fight's crazy and there's blood, and I can hear every word Perillo says. Like
Damn.
The crowd is crazy. I can hear one by one.
You got that selective hearing.
It's crazy.
You
Like
can
sometimes I'm because I've been on fights that the crowd is like going crazy, and I just go, move to the right, bring your head down, and I'm like, sometimes I trip myself. I'm like, how in the fuck I can hear you?
Yeah.
Like when I fought in New York, it was like never been that loud,
Yeah.
and I can hear every word that he said to me.
How many people were in that stadium? Because it sold out.
MSG is like probably 15,000.
Damn. That's heavy.
But I've been on 18,000, 20,000. There have been on some big cars that you're like, whoa.
That's crazy.
How much did that say?
20,000.
20,000. I was wrong by 5 rags. Yeah, MSG was gnarly. That elevator that they put you in to go to the venue,
Yeah.
it's like the OG one. Like Tyson went through that. Ali went through that. Like when I fought there, you can feel the energy coming out of the walls. Think
So
about it, how
sick.
many concerts been there, like on the big names.
Yeah.
How many crazy boxing fights. Now all the big UFC fights. Like when I was there, I was like, wow. Like there was one point that I was staring at a wall and someone told me like, what are you doing? I'm like, you don't feel this shit? And the guy was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, nah, you got no soul. Like I really felt
Yeah.
that place. I was like, there's like through years. I remember my grandfather, even before he made it to the top of the division, he was like, he used to live in New York, and he used to tell me that he would save money for like 6 months to go to a event at whatever was happening back then on MSG.
Yeah.
And this is on the 70s, like
Right.
60s. And I was like, fuck, that place must be special. So when I get the chance to fight there, I was like, holy shit, people used to like work for 6 months to come to one show here. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking kick ass tonight.
Hell yeah.
I wanna fight there again. That
Facts.
place is amazing.
No, the amount of history is crazy. You can
Everybody
feel it.
have perform there.
Damn.
Everybody.
When you found out, like when they offered you that fight, and they're like, "We want you to play in New York or fight in New York." Play, jeez.
I mean, you can play a little bit again.
But like, what was that like for you? Like, did you know that was coming, or was it they just kind of like, "We want you to do this"?
So on December the year before, because this was in November, so on December I got my first big chance, and I fought Jose Aldo. I came short. I lost in a close decision. Then somewhere around June, they give another fight, but they make me fight someone that was way low on the rankings, like not even ranked. I was number 15, and I was coming off a loss against a legend, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna give you a rematch." That some guy that beat me when I was a kid in London.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck, this fight is big for me to get that win back, but in terms of rankings, won't do much for me." So of course I took the fight. I beat the guy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Okay, now give me a big one again." And I said, "Can I fight Frank in New York?" And they were like, "Nah, we already give you a big chance." And they told me like the most honest opinion. They were like, "You had your moment, didn't went your way. We will find something for you, but it won't be that big of a stage." I said, "Fuck." And they told me, "We're going to give this fight to Sean O'Malley because, you know, he deserved his first crack at a big name."
Right.
I say, fair and square, cool. Everything aligned for me. O'Malley went on an interview, said, "I don't want to fight in New York, too much taxes," some stupid shit that I think I will never say.
Right.
They called me. He didn't took it. "You want it?" I say, "Fuck yeah."
That's the spirit right there.
Because they told me, like, "This fight's not for you. This fight's not for you. You already had your chance. You didn't did what we thought you can do, and, we can move you up the rankings." And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was bummed out. I was like, fuck, I need to. They called like, "Hey, he didn't took it. All yours."
Damn.
I went, fuck yeah.
But
now I have a crazy pressure because there's no third chance.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker beat my coach's main fighter back in the day, BJ Penn. So, like,
yeah, there's a lot of history there.
my whole circle was like, "Kill that motherfucker." And I was like, I'm going to try. But I didn't realize the amount of pressure I had until the fight was getting close.
Right.
Like, Parillo was like, "Now we got this motherfucker." And I was like, "Oh, you lost to him before. So now you're like picturing you're going to put me on the best level you can."
Right.
But then I was like, "Oh my God, be careful what you ask for."
Yeah.
Because now my whole circle, like Johnny, Roddy, like all my friends, they all know the history. My coaches, I was like, okay, this is not just for me.
Right.
This is for the team.
Damn.
And I was like, fuck, I gotta really go and perform because I begged for that fight too. I was like, please give another chance. But then when I was getting close to the fight, I was like, I won't have like a third chance like this. Like this could be it. Like, I mean, I won't get fired from the UFC, but I go and I lose to another big name.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy that is there just because.
Right.
So I walked to that fight thinking, this is it for my career. It's either I blew up or I just stay in the little pool with the kids.
Make a break.
Thank God that push kick land, bro.
Dang. That's a good story. Respect.
Thank God that
That's
fucking push kick land because I was like, I had crazy pressure.
Yeah.
I was like, we can lose to this motherfucker again.
I mean, you got the people you care about most in your circle. They got previous history, so you want to rectify that. I mean, you got your path out of Ecuador, your country behind you. Like, there's a lot there.
It was, all Queens was in there. All the Ecuadorians were just fucking going. When I was walking out, I started seeing like a bunch of flags. I was like, okay, fuck everything, fuck the noise. I gotta focus on this fight. But
yeah,
that was the moment that my career shifted. Like, I was kind of like, fuck, did I will ever make it? Like, I was just like questioning, but I guess if you keep doing it, eventually you touch base with what you really want.
How old were you when that happened?
I was probably 27, 28.
Yeah. And
So-
now you got the GNX, huh?
Now we got just a regular Grand National.
Okay.
The GNX is the car that they did for discontinued.
Yeah.
They only make like 500 if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they kind of like make it. It's the same exact build,
Yeah.
just a little better performance in the motor
Right.
and little batches that make it like
Yeah.
there's only a few hundred in the world.
No, I mean, I saw it out back. That thing is clean.
I love my
I
old
can see you
cars.
put some TLC into that thing. It was proper.
No, that car is beautiful. I'm waiting to get the Impala. The Impala is getting audio system, so I'll be able to just listen to the good music on it.
Matt, have you ever had? Sorry to jump in. Have you ever had those moments as a skater where you're like, "Fuck, man, am I gonna make it? Am I just gonna be bottom tier? Am I just gonna keep grinding?" Like,
Fuck yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was actually my like shot at Street League. So in 2015 I just won Phoenix Am, which was the biggest street skateboarding event in the world. Like there was that in Tampa, right? So I won that, and it kind of changed things. And I got an invite to Street League, and Street League was they do a select series, so it was like 24 pros against each other, and the top 3 earn a slot in the actual Street League itself. But I was the only amateur, so I guess they wanted to test the theory: can we throw a guy who's not pro in with the pros, and can he hang? And I ended up doing pretty good, and I ended up winning.
Oh wow!
So I got the slot. But that era was kind of crazy because I was staying on my friend's couch in downtown LA. Shout out Felipe Gustavo. But I remember I was so broke. I had like $500 left to my name, and I was like just staying there and getting up, eating acai and shit, and getting rides with him. And he was skating in the main event. He was like already in Street League at that time. And yeah, so he drove me over to that, and I skated it and managed. I ended up winning, and then literally that was like the make or break, because as soon as that happened, it was like overnight all my contracts arrived, and then now I can buy a car and rent a house here. But I was like, damn, it was kind of like if this doesn't go well, then I'm gonna have to like put a flight home on a credit card and go back to Canada and try and get more money and keep chipping away. It was like one of those. But it's funny because at the time I was so locked in on skating and just kind of like going with the flow, I guess, that I never really thought about how gnarly of a spot that actually was for me, because I was so focused on the next step. I wasn't like forward thinking. I was like, oh, we got $500 still. I got a couch stay. Cool. This event soon. Like, let's go. We'll see what happens, you know?
And that's when the best things happens, when there's no distractions. And
yeah,
I can speak for myself. Like once you make it after that, there's a lot of distractions, Oh, you won, oh, you get money, oh, you get contracts. And then, there's a lot of things pulling you left and right. And the best thing about it is like how to manage that. Because when you're broke, you're so locked in that you eventually become what the ones you were looking up. I'm like, oh, I'm here too. That's what, like, I try my best to stay as locked when I was like, try to think when I was living in Santa Ana with nothing in my name. Yeah. To keep performing at the level that I am, because that's the thing that people don't understand. Like sometimes you got 10 years competing at that level. Yeah. Yeah, probably you don't win every single one, but you still chipping at that level. Yeah. And then some new guy came, won a few things, and they get to the level, and then that guy disappears. Yeah. It's because they don't know how to handle that. And I always tell myself, just be the you that got you here. Yeah. Don't change that you ever, because if you change it for one day, that's it.
100%. And the amount of drive and passion you have will carry you. Like for me, I skated for 15 years until, things came together. And then ironically, because I was thrown into that event as an AM and ended up doing well, they were like, oh, the overnight success. And I remember I had an interview, and that's what they called it, the Overnight Express. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, damn, I didn't know overnight was actually like 15 years, dog. Like,
I didn't get my first good contract. It was right after the Dominic Cruz fight. Yeah. That was 22. Yeah. I was in the UFC since 2014. Damn. Like fighting at the low of the barrel, just just trying.
Right.
Calm down. Just trying. Fell short. Trying. And I was like, come on. I will pray and ask God. I'm like, is this not for me? And then I was like, okay, I just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you got me. Or just keep pushing away because it will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Was there another option for you, Matt, other than to make it, or did you just know you wanted it?
Man, I mean, for me, I just knew it wasn't even like a choice. If that sounds kind of crazy, it was like this gravitational pull. Like I didn't care how rough it had to be or how hard. I like welcomed it. It was like, let's go. Like maybe I can handle the hard shit even better because I'm so motivated and it'll prepare me for what's to come or whatever. It was honestly one of the coolest periods in my life when you're so set on something and feel good about it and you're like anything
With
every
nothing.
day.
With nothing. You're just happy with the fact that you're doing and trying that.
Yeah. And you're able to pursue it. And like, yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of money, but I had enough and I had friends, you know? And so it was even though I didn't have a car or renting, it was a fucking great period of time.
It's like Volkanovski just said after he won the title. It's like adversity is a privilege. And when he said that, that just like hit me in the chest. And I was like,
yeah, that is fucking
the next morning I ran 30 miles. I was like, I put the shoes on and because it's so easy to get right off. It's like the easiest thing. Overnight. Oh, yeah, done.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, let's close all the curtains. I'm going to fucking get to work.
It is a privilege, though. You know, I remember, you know, when I first kind of came into skateboarding, I experienced a lot of like you know, what you kind of talked about, like, whoa, I'm here now, like, holy shit, right? And, fuck, I just lost my train of thought. We were talking about,
Was that imposter syndrome or something like that?
Yeah, something along those. I had a fucking point to the story to add to loop back to what you're talking about, and my brain just lost
Privilege is
right, yes. It wasn't until when I was competing and in those pressure moments that no one wants to be, where I consciously thought like, damn, I get to do this today. Like I get to experience this pressure. And I remember actually like in Paris, that was like kind of my mantra when I was out there. I'd be skating on the course. I remember thinking before dropping in and was like, wow, I get to be here and do this right now. You know, it's such a powerful place I think you can bring into your life no matter what, because it's, oh my God, pressure. That thinking just makes you small, right? Versus like, wow, this is a privilege. It's an opportunity, right?
It is.
It's two very different trains of thought, and one can be growth and the other one can kind of cripple
explode you and just make you drown. Like, that's what they say. Just roll with the punches. Just relax. Like, you've been dreaming to be here. Mm-hmm. Now, just let it fly.
Volkanovski, though, I like that. That's like the straight to it. That's the way to say it right there.
When he said that, I was like, I'm making a T-shirt of that. Like, I'm gonna write it on my book.
You should make those tees. I want one.
I mean, it was a good sign, and everybody write him out. He was coming off 2 bad losses. Everybody said career is done. I was like, let him perform. Like, he seems in shape, but it's how crazy how like overnight I can just. That's where like the mind has to be healthy year round. Yeah, it's just a good traffic, good thoughts, good process, and just keep trying, mm-hmm. and aim for the best.
What do you do to keep your mind in a good spot? Do you have like proper routines you hit every morning? Like what does that look like for you? I'm curious.
For me, if I'm consistently training hard, which mm-hmm. I train year round, that keep me sane. Like if I'm like running, seeing everyday coach, lifting weights, and I get in a scale like I'm grappling, wrestling, punching, sparring, conditioning. If I keep track and I'm like 3-4 months, no injuries, I'm healthy. Yeah. In the upstairs. And then comes the family. Making sure my wife is also in the same mentality. Like she's, doing her thing, making sure the house is good, the kids are good. Yeah. Checking on the kids, doing, trying to do at least 2 meals in a table together. Like I try to like treat everything in my personal life like it's like I'm prepping for a competition.
Yeah.
If I'm only thinking just training good and then fuck my family, my mind is gonna it's gonna fail.
Yeah,
Because
that's your foundation.
You need
for
to
sure.
keep all that wired down.
Yeah.
With I got a tiny circle. I got like my 8 friends in this area, and we're always we barbecue together. We like travel together. Like if I gotta go do commentary, I at least bring one with me.
Yeah.
Talking to my coach every day, just like but most importantly, like if I know I'm pushing myself and I'm going towards a direction I'm improving, my mind is healthy.
Yeah, that's good.
And sometimes there's distractions. You get invited to too many things. Too many people's calling you. Like, come here, come there. There's this event. I just go silent mode.
Dude, that was one thing that I had a hard time with actually in the beginning, because like I'm from a small town in Canada. It's very, very different from the noise of California. And part of how I got to where I got with my skateboarding was I said yes to any little bit of an opportunity. Like, yep, but then once all of a sudden things get to a different level and you got to start saying no to things. Yeah. And I remember I the first year and a half or 2 years, I said yes to everything, and I traveled so much, and I'd never been more burnt out in my life because it just
fucks you up.
Everything's pulling you every which way,
You end having no soul anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody has a piece of you.
Yeah.
And when my career started, I adopt one of the phrases that I hear from Joe Rogan: immigrant mentality. Immigrant mentality. Yeah. No one works harder than a fucking immigrant. Fucking immigrant will do anything to prosper and make it happen. And that was my whole entire mantra for my entire career. Yeah. And then you made it to the top, and then you get pulled by everybody, and you feel victim of the system, and then you go, oh, no one pulled me anymore.
Yeah.
I only lost one fight. And then I go, okay. And my coaches did a crazy interview, and he said some like really good stuff about me. He was talking about me.
Yeah.
And it was like, when that motherfucker was thinking, fighting an immigrant mentality, that's the fucking one that I want. And I went, that just rewired me. I was like,
back to your roots immediately.
Someone calls
like,
you,
oh shit,
bye.
Yeah.
Come here, I can. And now I felt, oh fuck, this is as hard as I should be feeling.
Yeah.
Because all the extracurricular will soften you up. And in other sports, maybe you can get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Cage fighting?
I don't know though, bro.
But you won't fail any minds.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But fighting is too gnarly
way too fucking
to take the foot out of the gas.
Yeah.
And just trying my best to lock in is eat, sleep, train.
Yeah.
Close all windows.
That really is one similarity. I think a lot of people, and at least in like the general public, don't know about skateboarding, and probably why there is like a mutual respect amongst fighters and skaters, because like you don't get into skateboarding because you're rich. Yeah. You don't get into fighting because you're rich. You know what I mean? And all the dudes that I've come to know and respect in the skate industry that are at the top of their craft, they don't come from sunshine and rainbows, and they've really fought their way out. And it is an individual sport or art, whatever you want to call it these days, but it's such a mentality for sure. But I can relate to that. And it's funny you talk about the Joe Rogan immigrant mentality, because like my dumbass moved to California by myself at 21. I remember hearing that shit and was like, all right, yeah, this is where we kind of got to be at right now. Because like, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're not from the United States and you move to Los Angeles, you got culture shock.
Yeah, you do. I moved here by myself.
Yeah.
At 19, left my wife and 2 kids for a whole year.
Damn.
No one visit, nothing, because there was no money for that.
Yeah.
I was like, just give me 1 year. Let me land the road, make some money, teach 23 classes a week to get a little cash under the table,
Yeah.
clean the gym, train all day. Let me win one fight. I will fly back home. I'll bring you back.
Yeah.
And then when I bring them all here, it was like, oh shit, I only have 8,000 in my account.
Yeah.
And I have 2 kids and a wife and an apartment. I was like, I guess I need a short notice fight. I took like 4 fights in a row, like on weeks notice, and one was like 10 days.
Wow.
But when you're that hungry and just
I mean, that pressure.
mad pressure, but it's good for you.
Well, no, but I mean, like, you know, you
But
grow up in, if you grow up in a nice home and wherever,
Oh, you melt.
it's not going to be easy. But when you're up against a guy from Ecuador who's in that type of position, man, that's a vicious person. Like,
You fucking do anything for that.
Yeah.
You say there's not tomorrow. We got today. I'm always trying to pull myself to
yeah.
that mindset, to those times, because I was like, those were the ones that really count. Because when there's ice in the cake, everybody comes,
Yeah.
but no one is set to clean.
Fuck no.
So it's like,
Oh, man, I call them lifestyle friends. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The people that are your best friend, but like, as soon as you ain't hot, where did they go? And then, oh, you're back and doing what? Oh, hey, what's going on? You know?
that's what is so valuable, to keep the ones that been there
Absolutely.
regardless everything.
And it's good too. Like, I'm sure when you had your first loss, you really got to see who was there for you and the real brotherhood. It's so valuable in that regard.
It's very important to maintain that healthy, like,
Yeah.
because they don't make too much like that.
Mm.
That's what, like I said, the smaller the circle, the smaller is the table people eating,
Yeah.
you got a better chance to succeed.
What is it? The famous Joey Diaz quote. He's like, all you need is 2 other motherfuckers and you can take over the world, man. You ever see him talk about?
I love
It's like,
when
you
he
need a
tells me-
small group, but
but
yeah.
it's true.
Mhm.
It's true. Like, if you can count it with your fingers, you're good.
Yeah.
If you lost the count, you're fucked.
Big facts, man.
Keep a small circle and everything will be fine.
That's crazy, man. What a story. What a fucking story, brother.
Brother, you know how the immigrants do it. You
Yeah.
know. You know how we do it. Canada and Ecuador.
That's it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Likewise, bro. I'm glad we get to talk like this. We're gonna skate soon.
Yeah. You let me know. I'll come skate the ramp.
Come any day.
All right.
Baby steps, you know.
Yeah, I can show maybe is your daughter, she's doing any more tricks or just rock fakies? Where's she at right now?
She's at the very entry level, but
Yeah.
I guess she's gonna get good real quick.
I can come roll around, help her out a little
Yeah.
bit.
Pull up anytime.
All right. Hell
Thank
yeah.
you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Likewise.